it looks like both of our players are ready to go. Shady coming in with Min Min, Yoshi coming in with Bite and Balk.
And of course, these are pretty classic setups. Actually, oh, Shady maybe not so much Min Min, but we do see Yoshi Bowser going in with their favorite loadout, and definitely a favorite of mine to see on them. You got your hot slaps, and you got a nice Seiki going into the ring.
A nice curvy arm and one big exploding ball. As we get ourselves underway, Bark already throwing out those little uncharged toasters, but Shady's going to be a meanie and take the dog down very quick.
This is always a tough matchup for any character, especially once the Min Min starts to get that advantage, gets that Dragon Arm, can start getting some really good tempo and a lot of pressure that way. But Yoshi Bowser is able just to kind of keep Shady from being able to get that Dragon Arm charged up without leaving themselves too open for Shady to get these punishes. Definitely a very plausible match. Looking a little less plausible right now, but if Yoshi Bowser actually... Nah, he's not going to get the chance. I think a rush confirm from the Seiki might have potentially been able to lead to a KO, though.
Potentially, and you did see Shady get tripped a little bit with the with that Seiki, but Yoshi is going to ditch that in favor of a Megawatt, so still bringing the big heavy shocks, but this time, well, this time it's just the heaviest arm of the game.
It's one of the heaviest arms in the game, and it's also kind of the only heavy arm that's really considered meta. We'll see every once in a blue moon, you'll see another heavy kind of show up, Lockjaw, Whammer, for me particularly. But most players that are going to utilize a heavy arm are looking over to the Megawatt, because it's one of the few that has an additional element that can also reward the utilizer against heavies. Every other heavy arm just kind of gets bodied against those armored fighters.
Yoshi connecting with the rush, but only scoring with the slaps only. The Watt was just not quick enough to get onto the scene. And Yoshi playing on the back foot and does get caught with the chaperone. And that's going to give the first point of this set to Shady in a nice simple 2-0.
Setting Shady up with some nice tempo, nice advantage. This next stage can definitely determine how the tempo is going to be changing up, depending on where Yoshi wants to go, where Yoshi is going to take us.
Yep.
Where do you think Yoshi'd want to go?
Well, it depends on if Yoshi wants to commit to Bite and Bark, which we've seen Yoshi play with a variety of characters in the past, and sometimes they stick with one and sometimes they don't. So, with DNA and via Band, well, Yoshi picks Mausoleum, and to be fair, it's a stage that a lot of our players pick. Like, it's just one of those stages where it's nice and simple. You know, some players benefit with the trampoline being out than others, but for the most part, and again, always comes down to the character. You know, picking Mausoleum, it's a very safe call.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid one just to go with. One of the most popular in the general competitive community because of that well-rounded design. Does have that pit, but most players usually it's a nice circle. You don't have to be scared about the corners nearly as much.
No hot pockets in this stage. And
that said, if you get backed up against a wall, it can arguably be worse than the corner, because the only way out is realistically to push back against your opponent and knock them down. If you can't do that, they're kind of just going to be able to oppress you consistently for the majority of the match.
She's putting up a lot more pressure this time around, not allowing Shady a chance to get that Dragon Arm up, which is on the chiller side. And Yoshi just continuing to pepper away. Obviously, he does have the benefit from that third little extra hand from Bok, but it's not connecting just yet. But at the same time, Yoshi's holding their own in this one. And the Watt's getting a good couple picks, but the arm does go down.
And no rush for Shady.
That was beautifully saved there from Yoshi. Arm down, did not bat an eyelid to that.
Mander is very well known for being a very difficult attack to deflect with your rush, for being able to just parry in general. Look at Yoshi, even while he was frozen, punish Shady, and he's gonna go for the KO. Yoshi taking a round for himself with some incredible pressure and tempo.
That was amazing. It was well played from Yoshi, and we're going to see if they can do that again. Shady immediately backs up, but is quickly caught out by the slap. Yoshi realized that's exactly what Shady would probably do, and gets the connection with it, and is going to pretty much keep this momentum going from the first point. They are not backing down from Shady at all. But they are finally going to get that arm up. Rush is going to come in, but Yoshi's going to hold the shield. Will weaken the arms, but I'm gonna get a connection. Finally does get the slap, but they're the ones who knock down instead of Shady. Both participants with arms weak, and this will, no, it won't quite connect. It just didn't quite make it in time, despite Shady losing the arm. But Yoshi just hesitated just a little bit too long.
Mander is just so hard to connect consistently, though. You throw it out, and there's a lot of cases like that look like it should have connected cleanly, but it has a very unique property to it. It has its own mind and way it wants to behave. If you do not aim it precisely the way you want, it's going to miss. And even when you do aim it, sometimes it just doesn't want to work out for you.
You saw what Yoshi was going for, trying to go for another quick little slap because I felt the rush was coming, but just didn't quite make it in time, and they were very close to Shady as it was, so always going to be a hard one to land, and Yoshi already into critical. He's got a bit of a mountain to climb here, but if these slaps just keep tickling Shady here, they might be able to catch them off guard, because every single time you feel like Shady's going to come back into it, another slap just quickly tickles them.
The Megawatts also been doing a pretty solid service, as it's forcing Shady, even in opportunities where they might have a safe opportunity to kind of slip by and try to get that Dragon Arm. The Megawatts just been walling out a lot of attacks. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. And one final hit, knocking Yoshi down. And that's going to be the first point, or second point even, going to Shady.
Yep, and that will mean that Shady is through to winners final with a 2-0, but that's a really fight for that in the end there. Yoshi came back really well, had the rush available, and had Shady into KO range, but unfortunately just fell foul of that last hit from Shady. And so they will progress, and now we get ourselves ready for semi-final number 2. And that will be between Yam and Cosmo.
Now, yeah, Yoshi actually was pretty set to be able to take that. Yoshi's really been stepping up their game slowly over time. Always kind of been seen as one of the runner-ups to a lot of things, but usually just a wee bit short in most of these matches. Yoshi's just steadily getting better and better, and is really capitalizing on a lot of the strengths that their loadout possesses. I'm sure we're not, maybe not right away, but we're not too far away from seeing Yoshi make some strides in these brackets.
And that I would absolutely love to see. But as we get ourselves ready for our second semi-final, Cosmo and Yam have made their way in, and the bands begin. Just as a reminder for newcomers alike, that the way the stage picks work is that we have 5 starter stages, which our 2 players will first ban in a 1-to-1 format. As we go to Temple Grounds first, the other 4 stages are DNA Lab, Buster Beach, Mausoleum, and Sparring Ring. And then after the first point, 2 counter picks will be added to the list, which are currently, I say currently because there's some things being mixed up at the moment, Via Dulce and Scrapyard. And we're going to have ourselves a Lola match.
It's always a fun mirror match. Cosmo definitely, I believe Cosmo's been sticking with the Lollipop for the last long while, and has just kind of been settling in, working with this character. Yeah, I'm a little more flexible, but does have a really solid Lollipop. Was likely expecting Cosmo to bring out theirs, and just wants to kind of utilize their, probably feels more confident in this matchup than some of the other matchups they might have against Cosmo.
We'll certainly see how this plays out. It's currently Yam with the advantage at the moment. Already got Cosmo pretty much down to critical. The Scorpia and the Sparky working really well for Yam here. just missing out on that grab as Cosmo finally does get a punch in. The rush is going to come out from both parties, but it's going to be Yam who gets the better of it. Leaves a little poison chip damage onto Cosmo. He just ticks away there and gets another swing in with that Scorpio and gets the first KO.
The lockjaw was a really good read. Unfortunately, Cosmo threw it out just a little too early. Wasn't because of the two super dashes both players went for, just meant that it kind of shot out into the open space and completely whiffed, allowing Yam to lock in with that Sparky and confirm some serious rush damage.
Sometimes you hate to see it happen, but that is the risk you run when you are playing a mirror match against two characters who are very well known for their mobility.
Especially more so when you're working with an arm that's so just on point on how it kind of acts out. You get that one shot, if you miss it, you are left completely exposed. We're going to see Cosmo be a lot more fortunate with that one, being able to stick out the lockjaw burst and get some serious damage.
Yep, Yam, however, is going to retaliate with that's an uncharged Sparky. That was definitely more of a charge. As both players are trying to go for that kind of shock combination setup, both having an electric type, Cosmo having Thunderbird, and Yam having that Sparky still. You know, if it works the first time round, no need to change it. Went for the grab, but that is going to be completely open. Yep. Cosmo timed that nicely. Now it's Yam's turn, but Cosmo, wise to it, avoids it. That was exactly what they needed to do. Just barely keeps them in the lead as we approach the 10-second mark. So Yam has got to land the hit if they want to take the lead in this set. They do so, but they're still just about behind. All Cosmo needs to do is not get hit and not get caught with a grab. Are they going to survive? They do! Oh, and they got a last-second KO.
Lockjaw locking in, and that's going to bring the score to 1-1.
That was... Cosmo not satisfied going for the timeout, literally gets the KO on 0. And they're going to stick with their guns, going to stick with that lockjaw on Thunderbird. And to be fair, Yam sticking with the Sparky Scorpio. Very happy with how that worked so far. And like I said, they only lost it in the last second, and that is going to be a good shock grab combo.
Yeah, I'm starting out pretty strong here, but one shock grab combo isn't necessarily too much, and a good rush, a couple of good hits could easily turn the tides. But a nice rush coming in from Yam, deepening that lead, just giving them that much more control, a lot more opportunity and space just to kind of work with things.
Yeah, they've got a...
And now can definitely play a lot more defensively and patiently.
Yeah, they have a very large health gap here, and Cosmo is going to have to try and get a shock of their own, but that is not going to help. But they do actually get some of their rush, 165, so not as much as what Yam did, but still just about keeps them alive in this match. But they've still got a lot of work to do as they enter critical with 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, I'm ready with the rushes, looking for the confirm, and that lockjaw coming right out in the open is going to be a beautiful opportunity. Yam taking the first point.
A very close match there, must be said. Both players doing very well with their respective Lollipops. But unfortunately, just a couple of key moments in that match that started to swing it away from Cosmo. Especially those rushes when you're up close and personal with another Lola. As you said, if the timing isn't there, it can go so wrong. But really good showing from both here. So Sparring and Mausoleum are the bands from Yam. So we're just waiting to see what Cosmo decides to get.
I feel like Cosmo is likely going to want to look for somewhere a little more flat, a little more even-footed, with maybe some better corners, because when because Cosmo is wanting to work with the lockjaw, that means that a lot of the vertical game is just so much more dangerous for them, because it's so much easier for Yam to be able to jump over any and all attacks. Or if they're on a little more even ground, or Cosmo's in a place where, say, a hot pocket or such, he's able to knock Yam into that. That can put him in some really advantaged positions. But it looks like we're going to actually be seeing Dr. Coil stepping into the ring.
We got ourselves a Coil on Buster Beach, and a Coil with a Scully? Ooh.
I know a certain Scully fan, just neighbor of me in my little province, who might be a little excited to see this. But unfortunately, it's not going to work out very strong. This first interaction is Yam quickly gets a shock grab combo, starts off with a light health lead.
Yeah, you see how quick the Scully was to shoot straight out, but unfortunately it didn't hit its mark. It is one of the quicker arms in the game, but it's also an arm that can be very quickly punched down since it is one of the lighter ones, but it's going to leave its poisonous mark on Yam, so nice to see that both are playing with the poisonous type. Yam keeping that Sparky intact, and it's working so well for them at the moment. Rush confirm, it does actually connect, 170 in the end. Lockjaw finally upping that damage up, but Yam still has theirs, gonna go for it now, and this should be the KO. And there it is.
Something that I'll make note of here is it's clear how unfamiliar, like, while Yam does have some experience with that loadout, it's clear Cosmo definitely has some experience with their loadout. There's still a lot that they're trying to figure out still, and you can tell that generally by light neutral play and so on and so forth, but the big indicator is always rush. How does the player manage their rush? If it's something like the Lockjaw, you'll notice like Cosmo is usually only landing one half or the other half of their rush in a lot of these exchanges, just because of how difficult it is to aim that Lockjaw and have it complement the other arms. Yam's also had a difficulty lining up the Sparky and Scorpion from time to time as well. We'll see. I believe the Tri-Blast should have a little bit of an easier time lining up the shots. And we're going to be able to see some serious damage here, 340. Yam now just looking to close things out with 1 or 2 final confirms.
Yep, and Cosmo is starting to fight back. That bolt. Oh, it's not the bolt. I think it was the Scorpion that actually nibbled on Coil's ankle there in the end. Or did they both hit at the same time? It doesn't matter. Coil is down. And Lola is going to see Yam through with a 2-0 victory. In the end, it was Cosmo who was actually forced back into that pocket, and Coil just could not get out of there. And so it does mean that down into the underground bracket go Cosmo and Yoshi. Those two will fight it out to determine who will advance to underground final and who will get a shot at placing in the top 3. Meanwhile, we are going to move on to winners final, and that is going to be between Sheddy and Yam. It will be our first best of 5 of the evening. Now remember, once you make it to winners final, you are in the top 3 no matter what happens, because the lowest you will end up is the underground final, which is basically fighting out for 3rd place essentially. So whoever wins books their ticket into the grand final and a chance to win this cup. For Sheddy, it would be the 6th time, and for Yam, it would be only the 2nd time.
Imagine if there actually was a cup. Imagine having to mail that cup every single time somebody different won.
Would you rather have your players have a cup or a belt?
I mean, the belt is really cool. I like the arms belts. But the cup's always cool, and you can drink out of it. Nobody would drink out of it, though.
You don't know that.
I actually probably not recommend drinking out of the cup. You don't know where it's been.
Yeah.
When a cup trades hands that many times, you don't want to drink out of that cup. Unless it's like Rifa or Replicant or Shady just going on a constant win streak. So it's like, I know where this cup's been. I've been drinking out of it for the past month. It's my cup. And then they don't show up, and it's like, all right, now you have to give the cup away. And they're like, but my cup.
It's like, hey, those are the rules. If you don't show up, you lose the cup. Okay. So Sheddy and Yam are getting their bands on. Like I said, both of these players have won the cup before. Like I said, Sheddy's 5-time. All of Sheddy's 5 wins came in a row, which tells you everything you need to know. Sheddy just had that period where they just were like, yeah, it's mine.
It was a dark month for the arms community. Shady had their shade over the everything.
To be fair, that was nothing compared to when...
I mean, it was even Riffa time. Just like, when's the event? Oh, 8 p.m. Riffa time. Riffa time? What time is that? You know, the time that Riffa uses.
The time everyone shows up, shows how good they are at arms, and then Riffa wins.
Yeah.
But we're going to see Shelly come in with their usual Ribbon Girl. And Yam's going to stick with the Lola. Going to come in with Sparky Tri-Blast. That Tri-Blast should help try and catch the ever-mobile Ribbon Girl. Meanwhile, Ribbon's coming in with some hot slaps as usual. And also that Roaster. Again, a combination that we've seen Shelly use oh so many times before.
A very strong, potent, and just like consistent loadout combo. Much like what a lot of players look to as the toaster boomerang when they first pick up this game. It's just a tried and true. It covers a lot of ground. It's really good at just general neutral pressure, and the complements of that roaster allows you to confirm into rush relatively easily for some moderately high damage.
They committed to the rush, but Yam decided to just hold their ground, play that very patiently. And no damage at all from that, which gives Yam an opportunity to maybe go for something themselves. They're not that far behind health-wise, and another couple pokes from the Tri-Blast, even if they are not charged, will certainly bring it back into their favour. But Shelly is going to take advantage, actually scoring a grab. Yam tries to return the favour, but Shelly is able to get an arm up just in the nick of time.
Trying a little too hard to oppress, but we're finally going to find this rush coming in 325. Yam started off with round advantage.
Yep, I think Yam realised that Shelly was very quickly going on the back foot, and towards that corner there's not really much else to go there, so Yam took the opportunity and went for it, but that freeze into a grab is going to quickly put Shelly in front as we start the second point.
Shady now ready with rush. That is actually a shield breaker rush, or nearly a shield breaker rush. Chucks are so powerful on that shield. You can, if your opponent's backed into a corner, you can just burn through their health. It covers a lot of ground too, so this is just a very consistent flurry weapon. I don't think Yam's going to try to contend this.
Yeah, and especially with the two different modes of attack that the Chucks do bring. Depends on if you're on the ground or in the air, and obviously with a character like Ribbon Girl, they spend so much time in the air, you generally only see the one variant of it. But the rush is going to come out, and again, Yam is going to shield that entire thing.
Yam was definitely patiently waiting that out, just so aware of how dangerous that could have been to try to outbox. Not going to be able to land a rush of their own beyond some chip damage. But so far is holding out pretty even on health, just a wee bit in the lead, now a wee bit in deficit.
And Shelly's already got rushed back, and this time it will connect. And there is the KO. 305 will seal it for Shelly there, as we have one apiece in our first point. Now what is the choice for the pair of them? Guess what? They're all sticking their guns. Very happy with how each of those arms performed in that match.
Tri-Blast is a really good pick to counter out Ribbon Girl's movement. Really catches her on her landings and can cause some really good pestering. But the Birdchuck's also a good counter to that playstyle, that approach. So it's kind of giving Shady a little bit more ground to work with. And Shady's starting to warm up to the fact too that Yam tends to wait a little bit more, lean into that shield a lot more when that rush is ready. They're trying to utilize that pressure that their rush provides. But it's actually leaving them a lot more exposed now that Shady is confident and ready to start making these callouts.
Yep, and Shelly has a massive health gap here. All they need to do is find just one more punch on Yam, and that will seal the deal. But Yam hanging in there. They've got a mountain to climb, but you never know. Oh, well, never know. Never mind. There's the grab.
We do know. Shady's gonna toss Yam like a salad, and that's gonna be the KO, giving Shady the first round point. First set point.
Yep. Our first in the best of 5 in a 2-1 defeat. But it is still early days. And Yam was able to get a point at that and hold their own for quite some time. Like, even when they're down to like the last HP. They were still getting a good couple of pokes onto Shetty, so they just need to figure out a way to slowing down that ribbon goal. Which is
potentially something
even...
to kind of fight back the Burchuck, or I know Yam has a lot of tools to be able to counter this ribbon girl, so we'll have to see what they're gonna bring out. I think the Scorpion could potentially work if utilized properly, especially when it's in its aerial form. That quick little curve and the on-point targeting, it will just chase down any ribbon who's quick dropping, and the poison really messes with ribbon too.
Yeah, the poison, it doesn't just leave that little bit of stack damage, it also forces the character to stutter as well, which for a character as mobile and as a ribbon girl who likes to just double jump all over the place, it definitely catches you off guard a little bit.
It makes some of your movements a little more predictable and more easily punishable. We've also got a popper in tow for Yam. It's gonna do about as well as the Tri-Blast at catching a lot of Shady's movements, maybe a bit better vertical wise, but I feel like it's still gonna struggle a lot against that Burchuck.
Yeah, the Burchuck is a pretty formidable arm. As we get ourselves underway on Mausoleum, and it is going to connect with Yam first. First point of damage goes their way, but already Yam trading back, missing the grab and getting a nice little poke in with the Scorpion and that popper.
Couple of tasty little nibbles is going to keep this health pool even. No charged hits yet for Yam, but any of those are just going to be like slowly piling on. Anytime Yam does get a hit with the popper, with the Scorpion, it basically just makes it that much easier for Yam to get a second hit in just like that.
Yeah. It's like you either get the chip damage or you just spend a good 3 seconds waiting to get back up. And so far, both have rush available. Shady's going to go for it, but Yam is going to get the shield up, block through that. Does force both arms to be weak, but Shady can't take advantage or get the grab. Will this be a shield break? It is. 45 plus 20. And Yam takes a slight lead there. Can they convert this into the point they need? They send Shady into critical. Another little nibble with that pop, but it's going to fall to a grab. See how quick the ribbon goal is as we approach 20 seconds. I think Shady has just about taken the lead here, but it's by millimeters, if that.
Yeah, I'm trying to just stay on the move, make sure that they're a difficult target, get that rush ready. I think it might, yeah, Shady's probably going to feel forced to just throw out the rush just to keep themselves alive. Nope. Yam took too long getting that rush ready, and the timeout was going to give Shady that first point.
Yep. Like I said, millimeters if anything, but sometimes it's all you need at the end of the day. As we move into the second point, both with rush available now. Yam's gonna bring that Sparky Scorpio, gonna switch out that popper. And Shady again cannot land the rush.
I feel like the popper actually was working out really well. This is going to be a nice rush confirm, nice exchange. Got 2 stacks of poison off of that too, so a very solid display and setup. I feel like the popper was working really well. Yam just had to be a little more conscious of how Shady was moving and setting up their attacks. That also said, a little bit more of a medium weight matchup means that it's just easier for Yam to constantly safely parry down a lot of Shady's attacks. And so far, it's working out pretty well.
Yeah, they're able to get a good, decent read on everything that Shady's been doing so far. Did fall down to that quick. I just about got away from that grab. I honestly thought that connected, but not to be on this occasion.
It is one of the disadvantages to having an angled grab, whether it be you above or below your opponent. It can have a bit of an angle that will just make it stop right in front of your opponent, or it might just go right over their head.
And Shady finds themselves in another decent advantage. Here comes the rush. Yam waited perfectly for that. Leaves that little poison nibble, which should take Shady into critical, but they need a grab in these next 5 seconds. Otherwise, it's going to go the way of Shady again. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Will Yam be able to get anything? No, they can't. Instead, they actually sidestep into the KO punch. And Shady leads this set by 2 points to 0.
Just a reminder to anybody, if you see anything hype, anything exciting going on in this stream, you want to make a moment of it, don't forget there's a clip button. You can clip. Clips are cool.
We appreciate clips.
Speaking of which, I need to go back and look at one of the previous streams I had just after Smash Out. Stylo discovered a new tech for Lollipop.
Oh.
And should probably make a highlight of that so that people can actually see what he's talking about there. Considering, I don't know how many Lollipops have shown up in our bracket today, I'm sure some of the EU players would be interested in seeing this.
Oh yeah, that would be nice. So I'll be up for that. And we're going to have our first counter pick of the stream. We're going to go, because it wouldn't be the Scrapstar series if we didn't go, to the Scrapyard.
It's best stage. Such the best.
It is.
Oh yeah, on the note of the best, how's that poll going?
Okay.
How is everybody's votes and everything doing?
So, I'll be reporting on that a little bit later.
Oh.
We have results.
Very eager.
Very eager indeed. But meanwhile, we're going to go back to the action. And as we come into Scrapyard, Yam and Sheddy sticking with their pick. No, Sheddy going min-min.
And Yam going in with a revolver here, which can be really nice, but it's going to really struggle against the Chilla and Parasol if Yam is just not getting their shots on point.
Yeah, they got a decent good shot in there just a few seconds ago, so we'll see if they can replicate that again. But right now, Sheddy just dancing around these two pillars, but then again, so is Yam. Both just keeping as much distance as possible for them, and obviously Sheddy has enough time to get that Dragon Arm charged up on that Chilla side. And obviously the Brawler itself is in the right hands, it's scary, but down it goes, and Yam is going to take this opportunity to get a nice free 330 damage. And put Sheddy
Probably one of the best times to throw out that rush, considering the fact that Shady has a rush ready that could once again easily trounce Yams out. So sometimes you just see an opportunity like that and you just gotta go for it.
Yep, and puts them on equal terms just about as we lose one of the pillars. And Yam decides to step down from the high ground and perfectly reads Sheddy. Just sort of wanders up going, because Veggie Rush again.
I think Yam was trying to scare Shady out of setting up that Dragon Arm, but Shady was just like, I'm just gonna get it anyways.
Yam decides to use the rush early, force Sheddy to block all of that. It does mean that Sheddy will now need to get a grab, if anything. Is that gonna be enough? Oh, Yam, you didn't need to do that!
Yeah, I'm feeling a little too much fear.
Oh.
Really terrified of that Dragon Arm. Even chooses to... Like, they had, like, just frames of health lead. But they're gonna lose it because they charged right in and gave Shady a beautiful opportunity. Don't dash forwards.
Yeah.
Unless you know exactly what you're doing, don't dash forwards. Your opponent will punish it, and you will lose because of it.
Yeah, and it means that Yam has got to charge that rush all the way back up while Sheddy brings in a Chakram. They're going to play a very stunning game now, and there it is. There's the rush that they were looking for. 310 damage, and Yam just, well, there you go, down to half health, gets another stun. This time into a grab. And Sheddy is on fire with this one.
Rush is going to be able to connect. This is going to be Yam's opportunity to turn things around. They have to keep the pressure going on Shady, though. And if they can't keep up, that's going to be an easy KO. And that Chakram basically confirming what's probably going to be the results of this match. This set is likely in Shady's favor right now, especially with them getting Rush ready first.
Yep, that's another quick little stun. One more hit against Yam will do it, and it's going to be the Brawler that gets the KO. Sheddy wins this in a 3-0 set. Books their ticket into Grand Final, and Yam will have to fight it out in the Underground Final.
And it looks like we do have the lower bracket round 1 with our results here. Cosmo able to take Yoshi down 2-1. And we'll be moving on to face off against Yam.
Oh, Yoshi, no. Yoshi still cannot make it to the top 3, but you can do it. I believe you can do it. You'll get there one day.
It's coming, it's coming.
So it does mean that that Cosmo will be in the underground final, and it's gonna be a rematch of the first set of the first match of the session. Yam versus Cosmo.
While we wait for the two to get in and set up, why don't we talk about a little bit of the dynamics about dashing forwards? So, logically, like just going on a base ruling of what it is, you move forward, you're quickly trying to close in the distance between you and your opponent, just to, make sure that you're getting closer to them, you're getting pressure going. Much similar arguments can be made again about rolling forward as well on recovery. So what's the dangers in necessarily doing that? There's a big thing, of course, is the fact that if you're dashing forwards, you're making a commitment to go towards them. If your opponent's throwing out anything that moves forwards, that means that that thing is going to reach you that much more quickly. You're basically, the only time you want to be making a dash forward is when you're confident you can safely call out when you can make that movement without getting punished. Because there's going to be a lot of cases where if you choose to dash forward and your opponent's ready for it, they'll see it happen, they'll be able to react with perfect amount, more than enough time, and you probably won't have enough time to actually bring out your shield and try to respond to that. Generally, if you do want to approach your opponent, more often than not, the safest options are to dash diagonally forward left or right towards your opponent and kind of do like a zigzag, much like, if you're trying to like dodge something in anything else, you kind of just keep moving to one side or another. It's going to take a little bit longer, but generally that movement is still going to be very beneficial and press your opponent well. The other alternative, of course, is perfect shields, which you bring out the shields, they throw out the punch, and then as the punch lands on the shield, you dash forward, and that's going to allow you to get maybe not as much as a full dash, but it closes the gap relatively quickly and gets that pressure going.
That is some good... That's actually pretty cool, actually. That's actually really cool to just hear that.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. we both just kind of like just stopped to a halt there. It's like...
Shady's like, so helpful. I'm like, yes. Fair help. Tem help.
No, seriously though. Like, it's a lot of stuff to take in, but it's also good to just hear that. Like, just hear that from a professional.
Right, professional.
You are.
I'm not used to it. I mean, yes, I won 50 Canadian dollars from my last offline tournament. Go me.
Yeah.
But enough about me. We do have a bracket going on right now, and we have a Mechanica on screen. Yam facing off against Cosmo with a Bub Blorb. Bub Blorb. That is a tongue twister right there.
Oh, and that is what it does to you. And Cosmo is going to be blind to all of this. And, well, blue ink in their face as they find themselves down to half health, but they'll get the shock and a very good rush connection as well. Sends Yam into critical and quickly turns this around.
Cosmo just looking for one or two more hits, depending on how much they can get. Yam just, at this point, I think Yam could basically get 2 to 3 hits and that should be enough. If there's a grab in there, then literally anything on top of that would be the KO. Or we could just get this rush to connect.
Yep, Yam has the rush. They've got 10 seconds to think about if they want to go for it. But Cosmo with a very good time shock.
But Cosmo's going to cut that time short. Gets the nice confirm, and the lockjaw is going to secure the round.
Yes, they are. And Yam's going to switch out that blob. I'm going to bring in a very hot slap.
Slap-O-Mander is such a good arm on Mechanica. I personally recommend the Slam-O-Mander over the slaps these days, just because it's a little more consistent, more combo reliable. But I worked with the Slap-O-Mander for a very long time, and it is a very steady and solid tool. Just works well in most exchanges.
That is going to connect for 310. Good rush there from Yam. Keeps up the pressure, not allowing that Thunderbird to annoy them too much. And that's one of the nice things about Mechanica. If that bird is not charged and it does hit Yam, yes, it does damage, but Mechanica has that wonderful ability that most heavy characters do, where they just shrug it off. They just keep moving.
Even more so against things like the Lockjaw, where you do take a lot of chip damage, but then you can kind of just keep fighting like that, where even though Yam slightly mistimed the perfect shield on that Lockjaw, was able just took a little bit of damage and continued chasing onwards. A nice rush confirm.
Yep.
And that's actually one of the big reasons why I don't recommend the Slap-O-Mander these days. It's much more difficult to consistently land a rush confirm with it. Yam did start having the connect and do a bit of damage, but you notice as soon as the Mander reached in, and this is exclusive to the Mander, this doesn't happen with the Slam-O-Mander. It only happens with slaps. When it connects with rush, there's a lot of occasions where it'll just lift the opponent high up into the sky. And if you don't have an arm that can kind of follow that vertical trajectory, then the rest of your rush completely misses.
Yeah. And both have gone for a very annoying arm, it must be said. Yam going back to that blob and Cosmo bringing out a Biffler.
Now, this is going to be a lot more difficult to fight back against armor. I'm pretty sure Cosmo is just kind of in a rough place, though, as they were not expecting a Mechanica in this matchup at all.
I think that was the lot. What? That was an explosion. What happened there?
The explosion started to connect, but hot slaps do what hot slaps do,
Yeah.
and hot slap people.
Slap's not hot.
They're very hot slaps, and because of that, Yam's going to be able to take the first set and put themselves in match advantage.
Yes, they are. They're going to take that advantage and run with it. They're going to ban Sparring and Buster. So we're just waiting to hear what Cosmo decides to take us to. And if they decide to switch character, Yam obviously not saying that they're going to switch from mechanics, so it sounds like they're going to stick. And Cosmo decides to see if they can beat Mechanica at home. We're going to Scrapyard again.
I'm going to scrap things up. This is an interesting stage for Mechanica. As a Lollipop, this is probably more advantage for Cosmo, unless Mechanica is able to push Yam back into the corner. But we're going to actually be getting Bite and Bark here instead. I'll talk about the dynamics for Mechanica here quickly, just for coverage. She does work well enough here, but I'd probably say she's about the average for how a character is going to fare in Scrapyard. A lot of the more vertically mobility characters like Biting Bark, like Lollipop, like Ribbon Girl, those characters are generally going to fare a lot better here.
Gosh, especially a character like Ribbon Girl, who you take her to the high platform and then bounce the rest of the stage.
Or Coil, where you just get the high ground and then you just set yourself to levitate off of that, and now your opponent's literally just looking directly up in the rest of the match.
I mean, that's how you have to look at. That's how you have to treat Coil. You have to always look up to her.
I mean, at least there's some positive outlook in the matchup.
As Lola is going to stick on that high ground almost immediately, coming out with that Lockjaw and the Thunderbird. Yam, meanwhile, gonna play a very interesting combination: the quick fire and Scully, and the Dragon.
Definitely a pretty solid combination, as it's just gonna force your opponent into setting up a lot of these weird motions, and the Dragon's more than apt at sniping them down. Biting Bark is actually really good with the Dragon because they have a pretty solid jump, and their short dash is just solid enough that they can usually create the angles and opportunities that they need. That's going to be some very nice height advantage.
That was nicely done there for Yam. They were high enough to realize that if they went for the counter rush there, they'd have definitely hit it. And that's exactly what happened. And I don't think they're going to switch up anything from that.
Nah, you no need to. If I were Cosmo, I'd probably switch one of those arms for a Biffler.
Oh.
Looks like Cosmo's just not up for sticking around, so they're gonna step down from here regardless.
Yep.
And that means Yam is going to be moving on. We'll be going straight back to Shady.
Wow, that was quick. But sometimes if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it, and you know that's understandable. Cosmo throwing in the towel early, but still managing to get into first place, beating out Yoshi, and again that their set apparently was pretty close as well, considering the fact that Cosmo beating Yoshi 2 points to 1, so Yoshi did give them a hard time there as well. So, but still good that Cosmo got up to third, but that is as far as they will go again. So. Yam does book their ticket into Grand Final, and I think, actually, that might be the first time they've booked their ticket into Final for a good few weeks now, yeah. Last got to the Grand Finals on the 38th Cup. So it's nice to have Yam back in Grand Finals, and yeah, it will be a rematch between Yam and Shetty.
Mm-hmm.
Get these written up.
Something I want to bring up that a lot of players don't think about, and what was actually working out for Yam pretty effectively there. Height advantage is really good, but Scrapyard actually has a really interesting dynamic to it, where if one player jumps too quickly to go for the high ground, then the other player might be disadvantaged by holding that low ground. But they also have those two pillars, and that's kind of what the balance that the developers kind of were going for when they made the stage, was that one player has height advantage, but the other opposing player has like super solid just base control. You're basically in a fort, so your opponent's like sniping down at you, but you have so much control over what's going on in the field, and you have so much protection that even with that height disadvantage, you're probably going to be able to come out on top as long as you know how to use your pillars well.
Yeah, there's a reason why I say that the that Scrapyard generally has bits of everything, because it's like you got the high ground, you've got raised platforms, all of those things, but you've also got those two pillars, and that does give you that little bit more of an option. Like you can choose to play around them, you can choose to bring a curved arm into it. Or, if somebody goes to the high ground, like you said, you've still got something to shield yourself from. Like, your opponent has to come down at some point, especially if they're not using a dragon arm, for example, because obviously the dragons are a little bit more notorious for, oh, come on, if you're gonna do random everything, you have to include Redacted.
Snake Park, please. But, yeah, so that's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite but least favorite things about Scrapyard 2 is by far I'd probably say second noisiest stage in this game.
Oh yeah.
Like in terms of aesthetic, it has so much going on. It's got these dips, it's got the stairs on the back, it's got these kind of rounded corners, it's got the super high ground and a huge wall between center ground and that high ground. And then Redacted, of course, the loudest stage has to go to name Redacted, where it's pretty much got all the same things going on in Scrapyard, except those pillars are indestructible unless you rush or land a successful grab through them. There's also a conveyor belt. It's basically Scrapyard, but just with a little bit more noise, and you can also pick that up because Scrapyard kind of has a loud upbeat beat, and then Name Redacted is just a step louder than it. It's like, I'm more than you. I wonder if they actually went into the design of Name Redacted stage based on that kind of ideology of like, all right, so Coil wants, like, the relationship between these two characters is Coil is determined to one-up Mechanica in every way possible. So even just like, let's grab similar ideas from Scrapyard, but like level them up a little bit more. Just pillars are really annoying and difficult in Scrapyard. What if they were somehow even more annoying?
And to be fair, I've had some very entertaining matches on Redacted.
Oh, yes. Hey, Mechanica's music has a lot of noise and just kind of energy to it. What if we just made it a little angrier and more selfish? And bam, we got Name Redacted.
It's not really that. For me, I look at that and go, let's take this track. Let's throw a choir in there.
An angry choir.
Oh yeah.
A very angry choir. This is Sephiroth. Well, like Sephiroth-esque choir. Just imagine you.
Okay.
Imagine you picked a stage in ARMS and it's just like Sephiroth's theme just starts going in the background. You're like, I'm sorry, what?
Okay, so this grand final is going to be a little bit different. So we're going to have stages, all of the stages random, with the exception of, and this is because both of the players have agreed to this, Cinema Ducks, Snake Park, and Name Redacted. Those three will be banned. Everything else will be available and randomized, which means we will be seeing, fingers crossed, I hope we see Skyrim.
What is this casual, stageless setup in my competitive ARMS? I'm gonna make angry noises. On the plus side, though, this does mean that we do get actually have some fun conversation towards some of these stages. So I can actually talk about a little bit as to the interesting mechanics and why these stage, why and how we kind of handle like the stage interactions as we do, and why we don't necessarily do this. So I'm going to start with the positives to this. It's very straightforward. It's very easy to understand, and it also means that in a lot of it means that you have to be able to understand what's going on at every stage and how to best play your character and approach on every stage. Now, for my personal reasons as towards a deficit towards this kind of play style, this kind of approach, without stage striking, there's a lot of arms and characters that just do not work well in certain stages, certain environments, especially when you open it up as much as these two have here. You can still make them work, but if you put Mechanica in Ribbon Ring and you don't give her any solid arms for punching through those blocks, Ribbon Girl or Mechanica basically just isn't allowed to move anywhere in the center field, unless you want to jump. She loses so much of her mobility. Whereas, if you randomly get selected, you could have a good loadout for Ribbon Ring, for example, but then you get put in Sky Arena and it's going to be a very different matchup. And that's a lot of what the stage striking process kind of is it allows you to plan ahead, it allows you to get a lot more foresight and what most players are very interested in, which is that control. A lot of players are understandably very frustrated by a lack of control in most competitive games, most environments. Of course, there is benefit to that lack of control. It can make things a little more interesting and a little more exciting too. But just that lack of control, feeling like things are taken away from you or something happened, not necessarily because it's like it required something that just does not come to your mind or is developed in a way that just makes it frustrating to interact with.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
You know, like loot boxes, where it's literally just, it's not meant to benefit you in any way, it's just forced you to kind of go in and suffer.
Gotcha rolls.
Speaking of rolls and gotchas, we're gonna have Yam get a nice confirm off of that Sparky grab, brings the score to 1-1.
Yep. There's a lot of times where I hear a lot of people say that, Lola struggles on her own levels. And to be fair, there's a number of characters who struggle on their own levels, but Yam's making this work.
Getting some nice pressure, getting that advantage. It's really important for Yam to hold that neutral ground. And while this is definitely a bad stage for Lollipop, an easy way to kind of balance that out, and you'll notice Yam is coming in at least with some good knowledge of that. We've got a boomerang on that field. You know what that wind element does. It launches your opponent 50 meters across the stage. That means that Yam's going to more consistently have neutral opportunities and really utilize Lollipop's movement more consistently and effectively.
Yam, nearly got the KO with the grab, couldn't make it land. Nearly got the KO with the rush, couldn't make it land because they got bipped out the sky. But it's okay, because the Brawler does find the way through. No, not the Brawler, the Boomerang, and does
the Reina.
There you go.
I like the Brawler. I like the Reina. I don't know where else to go with that song.
Nah, it's okay. Hang on.
Oh yeah, they're not doing stage striking. I'm like, wait! Should we clear off stages once they...
Yeah, I was literally asking them that. I was literally just asking them that. Because that's something that I generally do with randomizers, where once we play a stage, I generally remove it, but yeah, Yam says remove it please, so I think that is going to be a remove. So make sure that we don't have duplicates, so we'd keep this as fresh as possible. And to be fair, I think that's the way it should be when we're doing randomizer stuff.
It's always good to be fresh, whether you're a kid or a squid.
Yeah,
Nothing
you
beats
go.
being fresh.
It was like, I set the pins up and just hoped that you were going to knock them over, and you did.
I'm like, oh! Splatoon jokes!
Gosh.
The look is good. I need to play that game more.
Yeah. You know, I was reminded, I say reminded, I knew today was coming up, but basically today, this time last year, was day 2 of the Splatoon 2 UK Championship Grand Finals, which was
anniversary hype.
Yeah, which was my very, very big casting role. So it still feels weird that it's been a full year since then. It's like very weird, a good weird.
Do you have access to the VODs of that?
Yes, I have links. Nintendo UK posted up the full thing on their YouTube, and they posted just a straight up highlight of the last match, which, to be fair, was a nutty ride from start to finish anyway.
You should post a link once we're done this event, and you should post another one on your. You should tweet it out at some point to celebrate the 1-year anniversary.
I mean, I've already retweeted the community one that they put up, so.
Fair. I'll try to find it.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, back to the present, and Sheddy and Yam are going to stick with their same characters. Sheddy with Min Min and Yam with Lola. Slightly different arm choices, I think. Yam coming in with a Thunderbird and that umbrella again. Wait, is that the Parabola?
The Parabola. That's the Paris. Yeah, no, Yam has the Parabola. We've got both pairs here.
I thought that was the case. It's like I saw the umbrella have that nice little silver sheet. It's like, pretty sure that's the shocky one, and it is. Yam connects with the rush, but Sheddy immediately fires back. He's gonna charge up that Sparky, nice and big and strong. Both on pretty much similar health. Well, no, not anymore, they don't. And wow, Yam just immediately powers through Sheddy's attempts, both in KO range. One more punch apiece will do it. And
it's gonna be the Parabola slithering in.
Yeah, he just as Sheddy, you probably look at that and it's like you almost look at it in slow motion. It's like, I'm doomed. It's worse when you're Twin Tail because it's in super slow mode. You have nothing you could do.
That's the best thing about Parabola. It has such good homing. It's so good at chasing an opponent down. And if you're not set up to be able to evade it, like, you'll just see it coming, you're like, oh, I guess I'm just gonna get hit here.
Guess I'll die.
I guess I'll die.
Oh, that's a free rush. 350, that was a really good shot from Yam. Puts Sheddy into critical, but they can't fire back with a rush of their own. Only gets 110 in the end. And all Yam needs to do is just find another shot and a grab, and he could probably take this.
But Yam doesn't really even need to do that, just needs to not die. And Shady is fully aware of that too, because they are going in ham against Yam, just throwing in all the punches. You can tell Yam's definitely feel pressure here. And going to be able to just safely evade that grab. And that whip grab is going to be Shady's demise here, as a couple of quick punches is going to lead Yam another point. Yeah. Setting themselves up for a potential bracket reset.
Yeah, props to Sheddy though. That was just like, they just went in all guns swinging. Like, you just saw Yam just like, I need to hit you. Can you stop for just a second, please? But that's what happens when you push Sheddy into critical. It's just like, they're just gonna go.
Sheddy's like, well, at this point, I might as well just do all the punches, because I just need to punch you. I think if Yam was able to recognize that a bit earlier, they could have got a really nice and quick punish. but also just dodging a grab because Shady was a little too high up in the air and threw out the grab a bit too early. That works out too.
Ooh, we're gonna have ourselves something very different now. So I like the fact that we had a counter pick and a starter stage, and now for something completely different.
So we've got ourselves Ramen Bowl. This is a stage much similar to Mausoleum, but rather than having a breakable center platform, it's got just a straight bowl, a huge dip in the middle. This is a really good defensive stage, especially since it's about twice as large as Mausoleum.
Yeah, it's a massive stage. Like, you can already tell it's so wide. If you are literally on the other side of the stage, you cannot hit each other.
This is also a stage that's just going to be added into the NA Scrapstar this coming Monday, or later tonight. At least in the NA side. Some players might be testing it out, see how they feel about it competitively yet again. Maybe add it in future events.
That's good to hear. And Sheddy's making good timing of this at the moment. Gets themselves a good rush, sends Yam up to the highest part of the ball, and also catches Yam in the ankle with a nice hot slap.
I don't think anybody successfully parried a slap against Rush yet. It has taken so many rushes this Scrapstar. It's only a 4-person bracket. Yeah, I've seen at least half a dozen Slap-A-Man takeaway rushes. That thing is so consistently denying everything.
Well, Sheddy's doing a fine job in making sure they don't get hit by Yam, but they haven't got the KO just yet as we enter the 10-second mark. They should have this comfortably under control. I don't think Yam will be able to get anything from this, so if they just hold on, keep that rush on hand, and there we go. Time has run out. Sheddy will take this point with a comfortable health lead. It's exactly the start that they needed, since they need to practically reverse sweep this if they want to claim their 6th ever title and stop Yam from resetting this bracket. And Yam just pretends to be a dumpling, just literally just parked in the center of the ball and just like, alright then, I'm here now, I'm a shield.
Just a tasty candy dumpling sitting at the center of the bowl. Oh. Nice and delicious and used upon. But Shady gonna try to reach in, but it's only gonna leave him nice and open as that arm gets slapped down. Yeah. And Yam gonna be able to land a successful rush.
Yeah, it was a nice comfortable rush at the end since Shady lost control of that right arm. You hate to be in that position when you know for a fact that that rush is it's gonna do nothing but hit. But they retaliate.
Especially considering it was the slap that was disarmed, so Shady just did not have permission to steal Yam's rush that time.
And Sheddy finds themselves in critical condition this time around. They're the first to drop in there, but they're going to swing that back with a nice tasty grab. Just misses the second one, hits the gong instead. And all they need is just one more hit, but Yam is going to try and force the initiative. Oh, that was nicely done! That was perfect from Yam. Realized that Sheddy was going to go for a cheeky slap, dodged, and fired in for the KO. Really good execution there from Yam.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there being like, I know what you're thinking. Oh, that slap's not going to take away. That's going to be our first failed whiff on a rush punish from Emander.
Do you get the feeling that somewhere Slacks is just like smiling from ear to ear, just knowing how heavily censored the slaps are tonight?
I'm sure he would be delighted to know about this.
Ooh,
a nice
no!
confirmed hand is going to be able to connect!
And that sends Sheddy into critical. Can Yam force a reset right here and now?
Again, you'll see that slap just lift Shady into the air. Any other, if Yam was able to time it a little bit better, I'm pretty sure that rush could have, Shady would probably be out right now. Tries to punch through. Shady gonna time their rush just a little bit better, and you can see how much more damage it was able to do as a result. Yam can only take 2 more hits. Shady, I think, can take...
None!
Maybe an uncharged slap, but that's about it.
Well. Well, what's all this then? Yam
It
has
appear
beat...
that we have a bracket reset.
Yes, we do indeed have a bracket reset. So, the L's and the W's will just straight up vanish because Shetty takes their first lost set and Yam is gonna give us a bracket reset. So we are going to do this all over again.
Do you like watching arms? I like watching arms. Let's watch some more arms because that's
absolutely.
what we're gonna do. Don't really have much else of a choice. I don't have an issue with that.
Oh, I certainly don't have an issue with that. And the best part is Yam is asking if we keep randomizing with the stages we have left, which would be great because that would leave us with Spring Stadium, Ribbon Ring, Ninja College, Mausoleum, Scrapyard, Buster Beach, Sky Arena, please, Temple Grounds, and Sparring Ring.
How many is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4,
9.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, actually there would have been enough stages that we could have had 2 best of 5s.
Yeah.
Like full to the end, and we still would have had 1 stage left.
Alright, so we are ready. Yam forces the bracket reset. Can Yam win their second ever title, or will Shetty finally get back to the top step after having not been there for ages? We are going to find out, and we are gonna go to Ribbon Ring, and it's Shetty's home turf as they bring in the Ribbon Ring, the Ribbon Girl.
This is a good stage. This is gonna be one of those stages, like I was talking about with Mechanica. This can also be really tricky for Yam, depending on how they move with Lollapop. Those high jumps can really allow them to get some good advantage in movement, but if they lean too hard into those super dashes left, right, forward, back, a lot of those will more easily get locked into those boxes that we're going to be seeing coming up going right away.
Yep, you can hear the little jingle. That means the boxes are about to appear, and there they are. They are very easy to punch through. So, but at the same time, they will obscure your vision, but also allow you to just jump up there. And obviously, if you're a character like Ribbon Girl, you're gonna use that to just double jump, just that little bit higher. But having said that, Lola can do the same with her bouncy shenanigans. So it just comes down to how the pair of them play this, and that's a nice little stun. Couldn't get the explosion with the missile, but it's gonna get a little poke of it at least.
We're going to be seeing a little bit of what I like to call these thick blocks. They're a little bit more sturdy. You can see they're a darker color and just hold onto that single Ribbon Girl emblem. The big thing about those blocks is the fact that if you hit them once, they'll just eat the hit. So you have to be cautious. You have to be aware as to where and how they're coming up. There's another one just over there to the side. Anybody who hits that is going to be left completely vulnerable. Yeah, I'm actually beside 2 right there. That is just some nice, solid protection.
Yeah, well, God, they're both really similar on health as we enter the last 5 seconds. Who's gonna get this, actually?
Go for the rush, go for the rush!
Oh, no!
Yam needed to wreck. So what happened there? Yam had the rush, could have charged in, got that shield pressure, and took that moment. But because they hesitated, they paused for a few moments just to see what was going on. Didn't feel like they were close enough. Shay was able to get their rush, and instead was like, "Oh, you're not gonna go for rush yet? I'm just gonna go for rush then."
Yeah.
And because of that, like, they had a superior rush too. Not only height advantage, their rush had more tempo, more pressure to it. Came out as a flurry. Yam literally could not keep up with it, and it was just basically all done for Yam there.
Yeah. That hesitation ultimately cost them. So it's going to be how Yam bounces back in this match. Going to get picked by a little chilly burr, but however, they do get a shock of their own back and immediately follows in with the grab, as we are accustomed to see. That Siki just always so scary, especially when it's charged. Like, if it just hits anything, it will explode.
Yam almost actually shocked himself there because of those thicker blocks. Just kind of impeding the progress of that Siki a little bit.
So far, they have lead, and will that be it? I will get them very close to KO. One more hit against Shetty will take this to 1-all, as Yam just bounces away with 30 seconds left to go.
I think the only thing Shady could have survived there is a charged side blast. Not anything from the arms, but like just that side explosion, that little 50. But if that happened, it probably would have confirmed Shady to be nice and shocked and fully vulnerable for Yam just to literally go in and get the killing blow.
Indeed, we go into our third and final point in the first match of the reset. All even at the moment. Yam commits to the rush, but isn't going to hit anything. Shady is going to just dance around, but takes 210 right at the end.
A little too greedy, Shady leaps into the air, ends up getting juggled by the Sparky, and the Seiki gonna be able to land its full blast. 210 damage in. You get hit by one part of that Seiki, and it's just like, oh, never mind, I just took the full rush instead.
Yeah, pretty much. Like any other rush is essentially one missile. Which is why getting hit by two of them is the worst feeling ever.
It's even worse when the opponent has things set up so they can juggle you with the Omi or Seiki. So you're just taking blast after blast.
Oh yeah, that was filthy! That was utter filth.
Yam is fully aware of how greedy Shady can be sometimes with these opportunities to be like, oh, you're not going to do anything. Therefore, it's safe for me to put. Oh, wait, never mind.
It was just the way they just sat there, and that's going to be the KO, and that will ultimately be Yam's point. Shady will likely be fuming after that. Because it's like, Yam just stood there and went, go on then, throw a punch at me, I dare you. I absolutely dare you. And they did!
And at the exact same time, Yam was like, alright, you're going to go for me now, right? Cool, thanks. Thanks for giving me 300 damage on you. Somebody please tell me you made a clip of that.
I mean, I've clipped it on my Switch, so if no one's got a clip of that, I will be going back onto the stream to do that myself. But that was just phenomenal. Oh, wow. Well, Yam starts off with the lead. They have won 4 points in a row now against Shady. I think Shady wants to stop doing the randomizer. Let me have my Sky Reader, damn it. Okay, it looks like Shady wants to go back to standard rotation. So it looks like
not yet. We haven't confirmed. It's just, Shady was just. Oh yeah, Shady did say we can stop doing it. Yeah, so we'll be going back to that.
Yeah. Ah.
Unfortunately, no Sky Arena for you.
No.
Maybe next time, when there's enough demand. Once we get enough information and start experimenting, and maybe the community's interested in seeing those extra stages. I'm not sure about what other aggressive stage we'd see, but to keep that dynamic, Sky Arena's probably going to go in, and then one of the two defensive stages that there's currently debate going on about lately, we'd probably see one of those.
Yeah, like I said, I have some information to give you on that once we're all done. So,
to my knowledge, just going on a guess for myself. I'm probably expecting to see Name Redacted and Ramen Bowl being. Name Redacted maybe a little more interested, but Ramen Bowl also being a point of interest. And then Sky Arena is probably like by far, like for the aggressive stages, something a lot of people want to see.
I will say nothing for the time being.
I'm sure it's probably for the best for now.
Like a good competitive player, I tease as much as possible before I actually give the results.
When can we expect to hear about those results?
Well, I mean... Wait, what? Oh, hold on a second. Are we still doing random but with standard?
I think Shady just wants to go standard.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be. Which is why Yam's doing the bands just in case.
Yeah. Just We'll just go back to that.
Yeah, it looks like we are doing that. So Yam has banned Sparring and Buster, and yeah, we are going to go to Temple Ground. So we're going back to normality. I think Shetty just looked at what was happening and went, okay, look, I need to dial this back because I don't want... I've done the hard part. I don't want to throw it away on a randomizer.
Shady's feeling some burn back from the good old ranked days where everybody only got to play each other through ranked. And you just had to live through that randomizer. It can work well, but also it can be really frustrating sometimes when you set up a good loadout and then it just so happens to pick a stage that does not work well for your loadout 3 times in a row. And you're like, all right, cool. That's cool. And then you adjust to be like, well, it sounds like we're going this way, so I'll adjust to do that. And then it'll go back to the stage that you had just set up for before, but now you're not set up for it. So you're like, all right, cool. I'm poorly set up for this now.
And so far, Shetty is not doing well against Yam in this setup either. Switching into Twin Targaryen, there's Chuck Ram and the Roaster, but just kept falling foul of every revolver hit that Yam was throwing out, and again caught out.
If you know how to aim your attacks to be able to punch them down, it can be really hard to catch the revolver, or it can be really hard for the revolver to stick. But it is still multiple projectiles, and if the wielder, such Yam is doing right now, is able to just like spread out those shots well enough, it can be really hard just to be able to catch all those bullets. And every once in a while, they're probably going to be able to snipe you down a bit.
Yep, and Yam, despite not getting anything with that rush, was still able to catch Shetty off guard towards the end. And it's just enough to send Shetty into critical if they can get another couple hits here. They do indeed, but they still need one more tap to take this with 25 seconds to go. And if Shetty can land another little stun with that shock round, they might be able to swing this. But nope, the revolver is going to hit them in the face. And Yam is going to take a point lead in this second match.
Tried to go for the grab, and Yam, ready for it this time, ended up just going for a quick punish. Both players now ready with rush. And we're not going to see that Chakram continue to stay in the ring. We're instead going to see a Tri-Bolt. Again, this is an arm that kind of doesn't work well against either the Sparky or the Revolver unless Shady is able to work around these 2 attacks.
Closing the gap, they're going to go for the rush and will land it with 255. But Yam, crucially, still has the rush, immediately bounces up and hits Shady square in the face. 285, the Sparky did not find its mark at the end there, so no more damage than that. A quick little trade. Both combatants not falling off their feet just yet. Nice.
Shady gets a little bit more damage, asserts that lead, but is going to quickly have it smacked away. All these revolver bullets just constantly peltering them down. I'm guessing Shady's feeling a little tense just because of some of those previous interactions, and the revolver bullets is just really not helping with that mental state.
Oh, and Yam!
Oh.
Yam thought about going for it, but Shetty knew that was probably what they were going to go for. Lola was in the corner anyway, and Shetty wanted to make sure that counted. So it's 1 apiece, and Yam immediately again gets a shot, but could not take advantage of it. Does so on the second time of asking.
Setting up with a light tempo lead, a good Chakram confirm can easily balance this out though. You can see Shady's trying to find that opportunity close in that distance. But all this time taking, all this waiting, is giving Yam a beautiful opportunity just to continue poking, chipping down those arms, and get a rush nice and ready. Just now looking for an opportunity to be able to snipe Shady down.
Pretty much. And all of this chip already Shady towards that half damage. Both now with rush available. Punches through, there'll be another 3 little taps from the revolver, and Shetty starting to close the gap. Gets another solid roaster hit, forces Lola into the corner. Will we see a rush come out? No, not quite yet. Another roaster miss, but the grab will connect. Who's gonna blink first in terms of the rush? Maybe Yam trying to chip down to get them towards KO range. Instead, Yam will...
Chakram gonna be able to catch Yam out though. Just some great coverage, a good grab, and now Shady just looking for that one final hit for the KO.
Roaster just about missing. Yam needs to be very careful here. The revolver is consistently being shut down.
can tell Shady's recognizing that Yam's maybe leaning a
Oh,
little too
that's a
hard
KO!
into those just light pummels, but eventually just a little too much fear and a little bit too much Sparky, and that's gonna lead into a nice KO, giving Yam a second point.
Yeah. The second the shot came up, it's like, that's KO range. That is unfortunate. And it means that Yam has not one, but 2 opportunities to seal the deal before Sheddy can get back into it.
While we're waiting for them to get things set up here, I'm going to quickly cover a bit of strategy about the Chakram. I've actually been practicing with it somewhat lightly, and because of the Chakram, I was able to win that Smash Out tournament that happened like a week ago. So I just want to cover light strategy that usually works out really well for a Chakram utilizer. So everybody kind of thought it was bad. It's not. It's probably at least mid-high tier, if not just generally high tier arm, and consistently kind of sticks to that. The big strategy for what you want to do if you're going to use a RAM arm, be it Chakram or RAM, you can also apply this to other curve arms and it will probably play out pretty similarly. Maybe not as well, but basically you want to push your opponent back against the wall. If you have your opponent backed against the wall, they have so many less options against those arms, and it allows you to pressure so much more efficiently. So what happened, Shady did have that advantage, had that pressure, but Yam ended up finding a way to slip out while that Chakram was still utilized, and Chakram struggles so much in general neutral. It's super strong in advantage. Even the slightest advantage is really good for Chakram. But as soon as you are disadvantaged or trying to do exchanges in neutral, it's a little bit weaker than a lot of the other arms in this game.
Some very oh no, not finished.
Just in general exchanges, most things will probably be able to outbox, and it gives you the opponent so many options just to kind of dance in and out of the range of the Chakram.
To be fair, I've been using the Chakram a lot at the moment, so I could. This kind of advice actually does help me a lot, so thank you.
It's good.
It is good. And what else is good right now is this Goo Gusher from Yam, which is consistently hitting the mark and giving Sheddy a little bit of poison. And look at the lead that Yam has already built against this twin toe.
Shady just goes, enough of this, immediately throws out just a blind grab, trying to deny Yam, get some tempo in their favor, but there's not much tempo you can really work with when you are literally one hit away from a KO.
The Gusher immediately slowed down. This should be a good rush, which will push Sheddy back into this. Yam into critical condition, but... Oh! There is no KO like over KO.
Yam didn't utilize the Gusher there, just made sure there were just enough punches to be able to get what they needed. And now gonna switch over to the Tri-Blast. I'm pretty sure Yam's sitting there be like, yeah, it's not happening again.
Yeah, that was still really impressive though. Like, they built such a huge lead with that Gusher from the get-go, and Sheddy already on the back, on the back foot, arm down already, and Yam has so much momentum riding on their side, are gonna get clipped in the end, and both are probably gonna get their rushes at relatively the same time. So again, it's just a question of who's gonna blink first. It will be Sheddy, but Yam is gonna just bounce off all of that and actually land a cheeky blast right at the end of it. Bounces up for a rush of their own.
That's a shield breaker.
Yes, it is. 140 in the end. And Yam just sits there on the center stage. Are they about to win their second ever title?
Shady just struggling to keep up with his tempo. Finally finds a nice confirm with that Chakram. Yam slowly getting backed into a wall time and time again, but constantly just, again, finding their way out. And you're seeing when they're not literally backed up against the wall, they have so much more control against that Chakram. And that's where a lot of these pokes and punishes are really coming in, because Yam just has that space, that freedom.
And no, it's not KO.
That's not gonna be it.
No, it is.
But that
Sheddy, no.
is going to be.
Sheddy activated rush and dropped the shield as the blast exploded. Oh. We've seen so many, we've seen so many people get taken out by explosions But oh boy, that's the worst time to go down.
That is a Christmas ruined right there.
Oh no. But it
That
does.
is.
It does mean that for the second time ever, and for the first time since the 28th installment of this competition, Yam has won a Scrapstar Series for the second time. So congratulations to Yam. And it
Also with 6-0 sweep. Like a relatively clean 6-0 sweep. There were a couple of light bumps here and there. But what we see as information and how a lot of those exchanges went in the long run, that is a relatively clean win. A very confident win too, to be able to get 6 sets in a row without your opponent taking a single one.
Yeah, and bearing in mind, 4 of those were just sheer straight up random. So, credit to Yam, they adapted to everything that the game threw at them, and also Sheddy. And it does mean that Sheddy, for the 4th week in a row, comes in 2nd place.
I mean, second's also a pretty good place to be.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for next week where Sheddy will finish runner-up for a 5th time in a row, and that will tie their 5-week running streak. Which would just be amusing.
A streak to outrun Rifa's just permanent resident of 2nd place.
It's like, hey, I'm always in the grand final.
It's a good place to be, but it's also one of those places where it can be equally like really exciting, but really frustrating because you're always like you can taste that win.
Yeah, it's right there.
But you just don't get it. It's so frustrating. But I'm definitely confident Shady can find their way out of this curse, and we'll likely see Shady be able to take one of these not too deep into the future.
Oh, absolutely. Of that there is no doubt. But it does mean that is where this Scrapstar series will come to an end. So your top 3 are Yam picking up the win, like I said, for the 2nd time ever. Shady coming in 2nd place for the 4th week in a row, and the 3rd place, again, only for the 2nd time, is Cosmo, who unfortunately beat out Yoshi, who will end up in 4th position. Again, that first taste of top 3 just eluding Yoshi for another week. But again, just with Sheddy, your time will come. I'm certain of it.